A Swiss intelligence firm was hired to compile secret dossiers on 1,000 individual Muslims and 400 Islamic organizations across 18 European countries. Their names, their activities, and their associations, all collected and passed to a foreign government. This information was then used to pressure European governments into banning them, to get their bank accounts shut down, to destroy their reputations in the media, and in some cases to have them arrested. Now, before I tell you which government ordered this, I want you to guess. Take a second. Which government do you think paid for an operation to hunt down and destroy Muslim individuals and organizations across Europe? Because I guarantee that most of you will not guess correctly. It wasn't France. It wasn't United States of America. It was UAE. What I'm going to show you today, it's not a theory, it's not speculation. It is documented and leaked and has been reported on by major European investigative outlets, including the French newspaper Mediapart and the European Investigative Collaborations network, based on 78,000 confidential documents. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what the UAE government is doing to Muslims in the West, how they are doing it, who is helping them, and most importantly, why. And then I'm going to ask you a question about the Muslims defending them. Stay with me. The UAE wants you to see gleaming skyscrapers, tolerance museums, interfaith dialogues. They want you to see Sheikh Mohammed smiling at world leaders, Dubai as a city of the future, and Abu Dhabi as a model of what a modern Muslim country should be. This is an image that they have spent billions constructing. But behind that image, the 78,000 leaked documents tell a completely different story. Because while the UAE was hosting tolerance summits and positioning itself as a bridge between Islam and the West, its intelligence services were paying a Swiss firm called Alp Services to run one of the most sophisticated anti-Muslim operations in modern European history. Let's go through exactly what the operation looked like. Alp Services is a private Swiss intelligence firm that specializes in disinformation, surveillance, and defamation. Starting from at least 2017, the UAE hired them to target Muslims across Europe. And the scale of what they did is staggering. They compiled secret dossiers on 1,000 individual Muslims and 400 Islamic organizations across Europe. Journalists, academics, mosque leaders, civil society activists, politicians, people with no verified connection to any extremist activity whatsoever, labeled as Muslim Brotherhood affiliates and handed over to Emirati intelligence. The firm created fake social media accounts to spread disinformation. They manipulated Wikipedia pages. They pressured European banks to shut down the accounts of Islamic organizations. And in several cases, they succeeded. One businessman, Hazim Nada, had his company driven into bankruptcy just because the UAE's disinformation campaign linked him to the Muslim Brotherhood through his father's name, with zero evidence of any personal involvement. His company gone, his reputation destroyed, because Abu Dhabi decided he was inconvenient. This was not an abstract operation. Real people had their lives destroyed by it. Rokhia Diallo, a prominent French journalist, discovered that she was a target of UAE surveillance and filed an official complaint with the Paris public prosecutor. Samia Ghali, a former French senator from the Socialist Party, someone who had not built her career on Islamic causes, found her name on a UAE compiled list of 200 people in France alone. Zakia Khatabi, Belgium's former environment minister, also on the list alongside 160 other Belgians. These are not Islamist activists. These are politicians and journalists who found themselves in the crosshairs of a foreign government's intelligence operation simply because Abu Dhabi decided they were threats. French and Swiss courts have now launched formal criminal investigations into Alp Services and its UAE connections on charges including illegal espionage, spying for a foreign state, defamation, and money laundering. But the UAE did not stop at covert operations. They went further. Investigative reporting has linked the UAE to Marine Le Pen's National Rally Party in France, the most prominent anti-Islamic political party in Europe, a party that has openly called for banning the abaya in schools, restricting the hijab in public places, shutting down mosques, and drastically cutting Muslim immigration. According to reports, the ties between the UAE and the National Rally go back to at least 2014, when Le Pen hosted a top UAE security official at her home in a secret meeting. French courts have opened an investigation of secret foreign funding into Le Pen's presidential campaign. And in June 2025, Jordan Bardella, the current leader of the National Rally, visited Abu Dhabi and met with senior Emirati officials. He publicly called the UAE an indispensable partner. Think about what that means. A Muslim majority country is an indispensable partner to the most anti-Islamic political party in France. That's insane. And it goes even further than this. Researchers have uncovered a UAE-linked AI disinformation campaign that reached at least 41 million people on Facebook alone. 41 million people. The campaign portrayed Muslims as extremists hostile to the West, pushing content through fake accounts and coordinated networks across Europe and North America. This is not a fringe operation run by rogue officials. This is a sustained, funded, multi-platform strategy designed to make Muslims look dangerous in the West, to their neighbors, to their governments, and to the institutions that affect their daily lives. They are not fighting terrorism, they are fighting Islam itself, dressed in the language of counter-terrorism. So why is the UAE doing all this? They will tell you it's about the Muslim Brotherhood. But look at who actually ends up on their lists. Journalists, senators, environment ministers, a businessman whose only connection was his father's surname. This is not counter-terrorism. This is the suppression of any Muslim identity that is independent, confident and politically aware. Because that is what genuinely threatens the UAE, not terrorism, but Muslims in the West who can think for themselves, who can organize, and who cannot be bought or controlled. The UAE cut scholarships for its own students to study in the United Kingdom because it was afraid of Emirati youth engaging with practicing British Muslims and developing an Islamic consciousness that Abu Dhabi could not manage. That tells you everything about what this is really about. Now I want to address something directly, because there are Muslims, prominent Muslims, platforms and followers who will defend the UAE when you raise these points. They will tell you that the UAE has done great things for the Muslim world. They will point to the humanitarian aid, the architecture, the economic development. Some of them genuinely believe this, and some of them, I will leave it up to you to decide which is which, are simply too comfortable with Emirati money and Emirati connections to say what the evidence really shows. Here is my challenge to those people. Look at the 78,000 documents. Look at the court cases in France and Switzerland. Look at the list of 1,000 Muslims whose lives were targeted by a foreign government's intelligence operation. Look at the funding of Marine Le Pen, and then tell me with a straight face that this government serves the interests of the Muslim Ummah. You cannot refute the evidence, all you can do is ignore it. And ignoring it while your brothers and sisters in the West are being defamed, debanked and surveilled by this regime is not neutrality, it's a choice and one that you will have to live with. The UAE spent a long time building an image, the tolerant Muslim country, the modern Islamic state, the responsible actor in a chaotic region, and for a long time that image held because the operation beneath it was hidden. It's not hidden anymore. The documents exist, the court cases are open, the evidence is on the record. A government that calls itself Muslim has paid to spy on Muslims, to defame Muslims, to fund political parties that want to strip Muslims of their rights, and to poison the minds of tens of millions of people against the Muslim communities in the West. And the least we can do, the absolute least, is talk about it. Share this video with every Muslim you know, not because I'm asking for views, but because this is the information that your community needs to have. And in the next video, we will look at what the UAE has been doing alongside Israel in Gaza. Because what I've shown you today does not even scratch the surface on the crimes of the UAE regime.